Welcome in to the Radio Misfit. We're gonna call it a Radio Misfit because I'm the only one showed up today. I don't know where James is. James is never this late. Actually, now that I think about it, James is actually late all the time. James has been late to every comedy class on Monday. He's coming a very long way, and that must be factored in. But there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, look who we got. The king of tardy. I was just talking about how you are very dependable. However, as I now find myself thinking about our recent life together, you are late a lot, man. You're late to every comedy class, which I said is acceptable because you're coming very long distance, except if you left 10 minutes earlier. You'd be there right on time. So he's here now, and that's fine. And this is not passive aggressive. I love that you come.
Yeah,
that's what she said.
I can't leave 10 minutes earlier because I'm literally leaving straight from work.
I know. Hey, you're the one. It was your idea. This fakakta comedy show that you've got us all involved in. By the way, folks,
were you telling them about it?
Yeah, and the ticker right at the bottom there. If you need any point the show to reference that, it's got all the information. James, the only thing that I don't know for certain, what time is it? Is it 7:30? It's 7:30, right? Tuesdays.
I think it's 7:30. Doors open at 7.
Okay. All right. So we'll find out. You know what? Maybe we reach out to Dean. Maybe we give Dean a quick call and we find out as we get closer. You getting any names on your lists? You got any names?
No, I have like Jennifer, and you had her on your list anyway.
Nah, you can have Jennifer. You got Jennifer.
Thank you.
No. I mean, you're gonna get Dell, right?
I'll ask, but who knows? Maybe his gout's flaring up.
If we need to spend tomorrow night's show just calling our friends and pressuring them on the air to make the trip to come out and see us next Tuesday at the Improv, I'm willing to do it. I'll do it all night. Jen is in. April's in. I don't know. I assume Byron's in because he's taunting Adam Reyna. Adam Reyna is going to have some difficulty. Apparently Tuesdays are tough for him, which is understandable. Byron and Adam have a wonderful rapport in the chat room. And I don't think
right. That's the vibe I get.
Yeah. I don't know. They've ever been in the same room. And Byron is already taunting Adam. I am certain that these are all just, the calisthenics of the modern social chat room age. I'm sure they're going to be wonderful together. They will be. But there at the bottom of the screen right there, folks, it's a scroll. If you get lost, you want to know what we're talking about. James and I are going to be making our comedy debut next Tuesday night at the Improv in Addison. It's us. It's not just us. It's like a bunch of good comedians too. Like you got Dean Lewis. You got Barry Whitewater. You got Greg. What's Greg's last name? Caputo?
It's Truman Capote.
Is it Caputo? Is it Greg Caputo? No, who's Greg Caputo? Is that a kid I went to school with? I don't know. We'll find out. It's him. A bunch of other people who have graduated from the Dean's List program, which is Dean Lewis's list of successful comedians. They'll be coming out. Plus, me and James and some of the people from our class, because honestly, we're heading into the 6 week now, and we have not had the exact same class array for 2 weeks in a row. There's always new people popping in and leaving. So I don't know. It'll be me. Here's what I know. It'll be James, me, Amanda, and Robert. We'll be there knocking it down, making our comedy debut. I don't know about the rest of them. Like, who was the guy that was like the big handsome guy before you were the last? Because we're all a bunch of trolls. And then you get up on stage and their critiques are always, well, you're a handsome white man. You shouldn't punch down. But there was a guy that was even more handsome than you. What was that guy?
I was the second most handsome guy there until he left. His last name was like Montz. It was something like Jason.
He was an ethnic. It was like an ethnic name.
Like Moldova or something.
Yeah, because it was used as an example of difficult names to pronounce.
Like, well, it's also great because like his first name was normal, wasn't it? Like Jason or
yeah. Well, he was normal. Like his last name is normal. It's just different.
Yeah, he didn't have an accent or anything.
It's different than Moran and Parker. That's all.
And like the letters didn't make the same sounds that they do, and I imagine it's a Cyrillic origin or something. Right. So I just forget that there's all these white people countries that they're not really like first world countries. They're, like we're not all living high on the hog in white land. There's,
White
like
hillbillies. There's white hillbillies all over Europe. No one better represents that than the Irish people.
No, I would say
we are the whitest hillbillies.
Borat nailed it, and Irish are ahead of a lot of people. I mean, Irish is ahead of, like I said, Moldova and Kazakhstan, and to a certain degree, Armenia, Georgia, all that.
We don't discount the rural Irish here in America because so many of them are us. But other parts of the world, man, the rural Irish are like the goat bangers. They're like the goat banging inbred,
No, that is the Welsh. The Welsh are actually
they're pretty bad too. Yeah,
sheep shaggers. All right, can I start off?
You can start off, but you must leave me a significant chunk of time because I have some of the greatest video along with 2 hours of research into the story that we have got to do a video breakdown. James, take it.
Okay, then I can do this in just a few minutes.
No, I didn't mean don't rush it. I didn't mean
this isn't like a discussion, long-winded topic.
I was just teasing that I had something I wanted to get into. That's all.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, don't worry, because this doesn't have 5 minutes in it. So I had a couple of Globetrotters on my show today, and by my show, I mean my TV show in Tyler.
Hold on, time out. Do you mean Globetrotters like people who have been all over the globe, or actual Harlem Globetrotters?
Yeah, actual Harlem Globetrotters. Yeah, so I didn't know, but they have a reality show that follows around some of the Harlem Globetrotters. That's now in its second season, and that's why they're on. They were doing Zoom. They used to call them satellite hits. Now they call them Zoom hits with a bunch of affiliates. And it's on NBC, and I'm on NBC, so we get to have the Globetrotters on.
So who did you have? Did you have Geese Aubrey? Did you have Meadowlark Lemon? Did you have Curly Neal? Who did you have? Which of my favorite Globetrotters from the 1970s and 80s did you have on?
I had their names were like Thunder, George, and Mash Robinson or something like that.
And when that chick was there, they probably got chicks on.
They have a couple chicks now.
Jeez.
They chicked it up.
It's
okay. So I went down a Globetrotter research hole because, if I'm going to be interviewing these dudes, sometimes, when people just lay out on you, they just answer like one word. What?
I'm a Harlem Globetrotter historian. So if you want to lay any of these questions on me.
You're going to love this. All right.
Okay.
So a couple of things that I learned, Pugs, you probably already know all this because you're the expert. But let me tell the other people who because all I knew before today was, Harlem Globetrotters doing their little exhibition basketball tricks for the kiddos and raising money for charity. And it's really Scooby-Doo.
Is that what made it for you? That's your ground zero for our Harlem Globetrotters?
Well, look, little James, I grew up in the country. We had one TV station until I was 9 years old. Like, seriously, the town where I lived, you could get one station. So, whatever was on TV was just God. And if it was a terrible show, you went outside. So I was amazed to find out that the Harlem Globetrotters were real people because I had only knew them from Scooby-Doo for years. I was like, what? Those are real, like the bald guy and everything. They do the tricks. Oh my God, just like on the cartoon. So
the Harlem Globetrotters never came through Tyler. That when you were a kid, I saw the Harlem Globetrotters perform every year as a little kid. Well, see, there you go, city rat, country mouse. Look at me, I was spoiled. I'm Globetrotter spoiled.
Yeah, and it's funny because they'll go to Reykjavik, Iceland, and they'll go to Helsinki, Finland, and they'll go to some Antwerp, Belgium. But Bug Tussle, no. Maybe next year. The closest they're going to come on their next tour is Houston, Austin, and Dallas. They don't have a Bug Tussle stop.
So let me just interject here for a second. You can continue. This is fascinating. You've hit on a topic that I absolutely love, the Harlem Globetrotters. Again, often I like to point out the difference between our age, because although I consider you a contemporary, and I think that for the most part we are the same relative generation, right, of worldview and all that stuff.
You're at the front end of X. I'm at the back end of X.
But there is definitely, a 10-year age gap between James and I. And I think that the Globetrotters fall into the cracks of that 10 years because the Globetrotters, to me, as a Gen X kid growing up in the late 70s and 80s, they were gods, dude. They were everywhere. They weren't just on Scooby-Doo. They were on the Tonight Show, ABC's Wide World of Sports, man. 3 times a year they would feature the Globetrotters, and it was always their highest rated one because me and all the kids like me would make sure we were watching Wide World of Sports when the Globetrotters were on. Here, I want to show you this. This is like one of our first real introductions to the Globetrotters. This is how far back they go and how big they've been for so long. James,
you mind if I pull up the chat overlay?
oh yeah, is it not?
Well, no, it's not. But these people, they take up a lot of valuable real estate on our screen.
Dude, not only did the Harlem Globetrotters hang out with the Mystery Machine gang of Scooby-Doo, they were on Gilligan's Island, man. One of my earliest and favorite episodes of Gilligan's Island is when the Harlem Globetrotters get washed up. And look, they play a game on Gilligan's Island.
I did not see that one.
No, it's one of the best ones. The Globetrotters were everywhere back then. All right, continue with your Globetrotter
so fun. Jesus. Okay, so why did they stop doing that? What a good bit. You're on a deserted island. This boat full of basketball players shows up.
That show made no sense. Didn't matter. Just go with it.
Sure, 3-hour tour. Well, then you could probably swim home.
Same era that decided Hogan's Heroes was a comedy. Nazi war cramp.
Oh, Jennifer saw it on Gilligan's Island. Boy, I really missed up.
Yeah,
missed out. Okay, so one of the things I learned is they're very serious history. Harlem Globetrotters played their first game in January of 1927, which means we are walking right up to their 100-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the basketball world, very much in its infancy back then, there was no such thing as the NBA, but there were regional leagues that popped up, and there were fledgling leagues. And the way they describe these leagues, it sounds like whatever league like the Dallas rugby team's in. I mean, it's a league, but who really knows?
It wasn't the multi-billion-dollar industry that NBA is today. It was an emerging league. It's probably the way like you would find some slipshod MMA organizations around the country these days. It was like that.
Oh, that's a great comparison. Yeah. And I am very contemporary bias, and I forget like 100 years ago, the people didn't love football and basketball and somewhat soccer. They loved baseball and boxing and Miss America,
racehorses,
yeah,
TV pageants, and white guy baseball. That's what they loved.
Yeah, just white guys. What the hell was wrong with these people?
White guy athletics. They're really into the white athleticism of the 1930s.
Could you even sell that today? Hey, you want to go? You want to go to a Major League Baseball game? Major League Baseball? You mean the best players in the world? Well, no, the best white ones. Well,
yeah.
What's the point of that?
Bunch of dudes from Indiana versus a bunch of kids who grew up on a hillside in Dominican Republic using flattened. Well, I saw a thing about one of these kids. They used their first baseball mitt was a flattened plastic milk jug. Now he's in the major leagues. All right, continue. Harlem Globetrotters fun facts.
All right, so Harlem Globetrotters starting off was actually a somewhat legit team that would enter these regional tournaments and try and win them. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at the Harlem Globetrotters record for their whole organization, they had 327 losses. Now they have 17,000 wins. Their winning percentage is the highest of any professional franchise in the history of sports, exhibition or otherwise.
Right.
I also learned, I thought this was absolutely amazing because we've talked before about some of the myths of the Harlem Globetrotters, like they're not from Harlem, they're from like
Chicago. Yeah.
So they would play like Rockford and Peoria.
But the brand of Harlem made them sound more. There were a lot of leagues around the Midwest that they wanted to get involved in. And they found that if they named themselves Harlem, the leagues would book them because they thought they were coming from so far away. But really, it was just like a train ride from Chicago to Racine, Wisconsin. Yeah.
So it feels like that there wasn't like these solid leagues, but there were these teams that existed and they would challenge each other to matches and pay people to come watch. And a few people would come and they wouldn't charge them very much. And the players all had to have like real jobs. And this was just like their side gig. And, it's like roller derby is now, or kind of arena football is.
I don't want to step on what might be your big reveal, but, the first Harlem Globetrotter teams, they didn't look like the Harlem Globetrotter teams that appeared on Gilligan's Island. They were all Jewish men. They were a Jewish men's basketball team formed by Abe Saperstein in Chicago. He went to the Jewish temples and specifically recruited the best basketball players because at that time, basketball was a Jewish sport. I don't know why, but it was. It was like,
I saw the Adam Sandler movie where he says the first point scored in the NBA were by a Jew.
yeah, no, I do know why it was. This, it's funny. It just popped in my head. It was a prominent Jewish sport because for some reason Jewish temples all had gymnasiums, and the Jewish communities all hung out at their temples, and so Jewish boys shot hoops when other people weren't. So that's why it was. Jewish temples tended to have gymnasiums.
I've never heard that before, but it's very believable.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the 1950s, they were all black.
Well, because well,
you're recruiting the best basketball players, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, you let a superior athlete, see a baseball for the first time. Give him a couple weeks, and he's probably going to be really good with that baseball.
Okay, so the precursor to the NBA was the NBL, and they were still 100% white league. Like, I don't understand why you can't play basketball against black people. Like, why? Even if you're a racist, why would you care about basketball?
Well,
like,
that's the thing. They want to pretend they don't exist. That's what racists do. Let's stop them, racists.
It's a weird way to live your life. So the NBL would not sign these great basketball players that were coming out of college, and in fact, college was like not very well integrated either. I mean, the black colleges. And so they had an outlet to go somewhere, and so the Harlem Globetrotters would pick them up, and some of these exhibition teams would pick them up, but never the NBL. They would never make it to the top. And so after Jackie Robinson's success, and the NFL was already kind of integrating since way before that, the first black player in the NBA/NBL was a Harlem Globetrotter, 1950.
Who?
I forgot his name. But he's the Jackie Robinson of the basketball world, came from the Harlem Globetrotters.
There's been a lot of players that made their names in the NBA that matriculated through the Harlem Globetrotters. Will Chamberlain, famously.
Will Chamberlain retired and then played for the Harlem Globetrotters for a few years after that.
I thought it was before.
He did 1 year between college and NBA where he was a Harlem Globetrotter, and he said that was the most fun he ever had in his basketball career.
I know we had a TV news guy in Chicago for like 50 years named Warner Saunders. He played for the Harlem Globetrotters. He became a serious new journalism guy.
Okay, so now let's fast forward a little bit. The Washington Generals became their steady foe about the same time.
They're whipping boy.
Yeah, they're whipping boy. Now, the Washington Generals were a team. They were the Philadelphia Fa and PHA. I don't even know what that means. And they were one of those exhibition teams like the Harlem Globetrotters, and they were actually really good like the Harlem Globetrotters, and they were worth playing. But the Harlem Globetrotters, in their move from entering tournaments to doing exhibition games, had a hard time drumming up a team to play in all these other towns, and they couldn't go to a town unless they already had a team to play, so they needed a team to take with them to be their constant foe. And the Philadelphia Fa show up. They changed their name to the Washington Generals, and the rest is history. Now, the Washington Generals have beat the Harlem Globetrotters. Some sources say 6 times, but the more reliable ones, and the figure I saw the most was 3 times. The last time was in 1971. And what happened in that game, Curly was out with an injury, but he was on the sideline. And they were messing around, playing their exhibition, doing their tricks. And the Harlem Globetrotter setup isn't like pro wrestling. It's not all fake. It's just when it's time to do a bit, the Washington Generals step aside and let them do whatever. But the rest of the game is pretty much straight up basketball. And the Washington Generals got up a whole lot in this game in 1971, and then the Harlem Globetrotters were like, what are they doing? What a-holes? We're trying to entertain a crowd here. And so they stopped doing their tricks, and they started playing them straight. But a couple guys got on a streak, and the guy that owned the Washington Generals was a 50-year-old former professional basketball player, Klotz, another Jewish guy.
Jewish guys, they ran basketball. Still do.
Yeah. So he like drains a shot that puts him ahead, and then some Harlem Globetrotter was taking the shot at the buzzer to send it into overtime and missed. And the reason why the Washington Generals one of the reasons the Washington Generals haven't won since is because there were kids in the stadium that were crying. It was an absolute public relations disaster.
Oh,
Yeah, for that setup. Now, that's not the last time they lost. That's the last time they lost to the Washington Generals. Apparently, there was something I missed because I was drunk, messed up for most of the late 90s. But after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retired from the NBA, he got asked to be a Harlem Globetrotter, and they threw big money. It's like $5 million. Dude, just do this for 1 year. Jesus,
Yeah.
just for 1 year.
Well, that would make sense because that was at the era where there was the great turnover between the ones who were the true stars when the Harlem Globetrotters. Yeah, the Scooby-Doo era guys, the Gilligan's Island, the guys we mentioned, the Meadowlark Lemons and the Curly Neals and, the Baby Face Page or whatever. Those guys were all leaving at the end of the day. Those guys were like 50, at that point. So they needed something, and that would make sense that they would go out because they toured. This is, again, the time that I grew up. Every single year, man, when the Chicago Bulls would go on a long West Coast road trip, the Harlem Globetrotters and the circus would come to town. And 1 week it would be the Globetrotter, or 1 weekend the Globetrotters, and then the circus. So, I mean, they came every year. I saw them like 5 times in a row. Never saw the Senators win. Never saw the Senators.
The Generals.
The Generals, yeah, that's it.
All right, so it's the mid '90s. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retires. Lou Alcindor, as I like to call him. And by the way, someone bring back his skyhook. It was unstoppable. Why did y'all stop doing that?
Giant power forwards. The more aggressive, the Charles Barkley's. The real aggressive East Coast style.
It was amazing. It was amazing to watch.
Lambier's elbows. That kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, now it's backing it up. Wilt Chamberlain played 1 year for the Globetrotters. Okay. Anyway, so they're in like Switzerland or some weird place. Where were they? Like Genoa, Italy. I think they were in Europe.
Well, they were Globetrotters.
Dude, they are very much like right now. They're like when I said they're playing in Reykjavik, Iceland, that's Saturday. They're playing in Reykjavik, Iceland. Anyway, so Kareem Abdul-Jabbar puts together this team, and there's some former NBA players on it, like 3 or 4, but some of them were just like the Washington General guys that they picked up. And so, go ahead.
Are you talking about the Buccaneers?
I don't think they were called the Buccaneers, but this
because the Buccaneers. Did you learn about the Buccaneers? The Buccaneers, when all of these guys, Meadowlark Lemon and Curly Neal, they left the Harlem Globetrotters not necessarily because they got so old, but because they wanted more money. And they were superstars at this point. So they went and formed their own team, Meadowlark Lemon's Buccaneers. And they did the exact same thing the Harlem Globetrotters did.
Ooh.
Saw the Buccaneers play too.
Okay, here it is. September 12th, 1995 in Vienna, Austria. So when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar puts this team together, he's like, listen, I'll play against you on this other team. We'll do a tour. It'll be an 11-game exhibition series in Europe. And it was all retired basketball stars led by Kareem. And the Globetrotters' 8,829 game winning streak came to an end. It was the first loss since that Washington Generals upset in 1971 where the kids were crying. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is 48 years old during this game.
Well, the Globetrotters were 50.
Well, probably some of them. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scores 34 points. The retired basketball stars, Kareem's All-Stars, win 91-85. That's not the last time they lost. Apparently, the Harlem Globetrotters went on. They went to do some exhibitions, around the globe.
Did they go to Europe?
No. So they wanted to go to China.
Uh-oh.
But China said, listen, we'd like to have the Harlem Globetrotters here. We know who you are. We watch Scooby-Doo. But don't bring the Washington Generals. You can play against our exhibition team.
Oh, no, don't do it. Oh, I know that Chinese dollar, that yen. I know it's attractive. Don't do it. They're going to load you up with a bunch of Yao Mings. You guys going to get crushed.
Well, I want to find video of this. I didn't look for it, but I read 2 articles that both talked about the game, and both of them commented about the strange height difference between the Harlem Globetrotters, who are all like 6.5, 7 feet tall or whatever, and the Chinese team that looked like they were 5 feet tall. But the Chinese team, exhibition team, beat them in one of these exhibitions. And, I don't know if Xi Jinping, what I believe probably happened is Xi Jinping pulled them aside and here's $1 million for each of you if you throw the game. You know, like they would do that. They would totally do that. Right? I mean, don't you believe? Isn't that more believable than the Harlem Globetrotters got beat by a bunch of 5'6" Chinese exhibition teams?
Yeah, I'm trying to find on YouTube some video of the Chinese. There's video from the Harlem Globetrotters in China, but it's all them doing their silly little sketches. It's not an actual game. Here, I did find this though, James. This Meadowlark Lemon's Buccateers. They tried to steal the thunder from the Harlem Globetrotters. He wildcatted. He went out on his own, and it lasted a couple of years, and he probably lost a lot of.
Well, those outfits suck because you look like a squire at medieval times.
Those outfits are. I don't know. It was the time.
No, was there a white guy in that?
There is. There's a white guy on the far left.
Why do they have to look? It's not cool when you do the token black guy. It's not cool when you do the token white guy either. If you want to have the Harlem Globetrotters be all black, we're okay with that. We don't. You don't need to do horn white. In fact, if it's their bit, let them have their bit.
Look, here's the thing: you have to understand the situation. Meadowlark Lemon was like O.J. Simpson. He was non-racial. He was a black guy, but no white people saw him as a black guy. He was non-racial.
I don't see any of them as a black guy.
However,
Globetrotters.
When Meadowlark Lemon decided that he was going to go out, and they had these crazy Parliament, those are P-Funk uniforms. They're very weird like that. So he's going to have those uniforms. You got to have a white guy. He wants to be able to attract the suburbs the way the Globetrotters used to. So you have a white guy, and then it doesn't feel so dark and scary. That's the 80s advertising mentality.
But they're not dark and scary. They're on Scooby-Doo.
They were to people in the 80s. Trust me, you're talking about 2023. We're fine. We have black neighbors now. We didn't in the 80s.
If it wasn't wholesome family fun, how did they end up on Scooby-Doo in 1980?
Well, right. That is kind of the conundrum. They were, I don't know, James.
All right. Something else I learned that I'm super happy about because I've made jokes about this before.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy that shows up in a Washington Generals jersey. And I found that if you go to the Harlem Globetrotters website, if you go under merch, you can scroll around and not find the Washington Generals jersey. But if you search for the word Generals, apparently somewhere in the inventory, they've got some left. And it'll pop up on your screen. And you can get a Washington Generals t-shirt or jersey. That's all they got left.
Oh, I imagine if you just put Washington Generals, into Google, you can get some bootleg stuff. What do you need an official? It's not a real league. You don't need official Washington Generals jersey.
Well, I need it about the same as I need a bootleg Washington Generals jersey.
Well, but what I'm saying is you don't have to go through all the trouble of just scrolling around on the official Harlem Globetrotters website. I mean, there seems to be some. Yeah, you can get online. eBay. eBay's got a bunch of them. Here. Is this what they look like? I don't even know what they look like. Like there might actually be a team. They're green, you say?
Yeah. Well, That's the one I saw.
Well, here you go. These are them. Here, look at these Washington General jerseys. Boom. You can buy the whole one right here.
I don't need the whole thing, and just maybe the shirt would be fine.
There you go. 2010 Washington Generals 00 replica. Signed.
Yeah, how fun.
Full dress uni. Are the Washington Generals? Well, I was going to say because I guess both teams are always the road team if they travel around.
The Globetrotters are always the home team.
Globetrotters are the home team. Okay, all right. Wasn't sure that was the rule, but I'm good. All right, James, are you done with your Globetrotters?
That was it. The Washington Generals was the end of my bit.
There he goes. It was great. We learned something. It was fun. Okay. So, James, I got some video I got to show you, and I want to break this down, and it concerns an issue that is, it's got society on the edge of their seat, James. It's about police brutality. Well, we've had another one of these incidents, James. We've had another one of these incidents where some cops started going a little bit crazy, and a little different, though. This one's a little different, as it concerned a bunch of cops tuning up a bunch of rich white drunk people at a wedding in Newport, Rhode Island. Are you familiar with this story, James?
Yeah, I saw this.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, and it's so disappointing because I don't know. Have you ever been in a fight and like the guy punches you, but he doesn't know how to punch, so you get like this arm punch, and it does this, and you're like, "Oh, dude, that's it? Come on!" Like it's not even like I don't even want to fight you now. That takes all the fun out of it. So
what are you talking about? The one that knocked the girl unconscious, or the dude that busted the cop's nose with a flush right to the face.
Oh,
I mean, I saw nothing but real punches connecting in this video.
I'm not saying there weren't some real punches in
There
there.
were haymakers landing.
But there were some people who did not deserve or should not be in fights like this. There were some people who had no idea what they're doing, and they were drunk, and you escalated it to where the other people who really do fight ended up causing some damage. And so I don't know.
Well, it's a very complicated story, and as I say, the video is quite provocative. But before we watch the video, let me give you the story as it was reported, okay? Because it was reported over the weekend. The video turns up. All of these things now have video that shows up a day later, and they usually fly in the face of the original reporting, or the police report, or whatever it is. So here, I just want to, before we watch the video, this is how it was reported on Sunday. Okay, this happens.
Have we appreciated our names here? Because I don't know what Thorn Ravenstar is.
That's just a baller name. I just thought of like the most kick-ass name I could think of, and Thorn Ravenstar came up.
It was like one of the guys in Flash Gordon with wings.
I don't know.
He
was almost Thor Ravenstar, but I added the end because I thought Thor was too much.
I thought you would like mine.
I do. Aaron Rodgers' ankle. That's very
all right.
good.
So what's the backstory on this viral video?
All right. So here's what this happened on Saturday night in Newport, Rhode Island, very fancy part of the country. 5 arraigned, James, following an altercation involving Newport police. 5
Is Newport fancy?
Oh God, yeah. Newport is, dude. It's all yacht clubs and like freaking Kennedy's and it's.
Sounds like menthol cigarettes to me.
No, Newport, the Newport Jazz and Folk Festival, man. No, Newport's very fancy, like some of the most expensive real estate in the country. Mansions, like not just rich people, like Vanderbilts. Like,
context I need to know, because I thought this was just some people smoking menthols.
No. This is Newport.
Why would they make the crappiest cigarettes off of some white crusty yacht place?
I don't because they were trying to make it fancy. That's all.
Black people, that's on you.
5 of the 6 people arrested during an altercation involving Newport police and a group attending a wedding outside the Landing restaurant. 5 of them were arraigned on Wednesday. Rachel Onick, Robert Nash, Alexandria Flaherty were all released on $5,000 bond. Olivia Costello and David Onick were each released on $1,000 bond. Here's the problem right off the bat. You got a Nash, you got a Flaherty, you got a Costello. These are a bunch of drunk Irish people, man. This is a drunk Irish family from a wedding. They are wasted and they are acting. Okay, so you have a lot of Irish names is all I'm saying.
Costello's Irish?
Costello's very Irish, yes.
Oh, man, I know nothing.
It's Irish. They're also Italian, but it's I know a lot of Costellos who are Irish.
Oh, it is. Costello's a surname of both Italian and Irish origin.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's weird. It's one of those that's like both, and for some reason, both Nash and Flaherty, a couple of good Irish names, face a felony charge of assaulting a police officer and misdemeanor charges of simple assault and battery. Also charged with the resisting arrest, obstructing an officer, and disorderly conduct. No pleas were entered on their charges as felony counts are moved to Superior Court. David Onick faces a misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct. Rachel Onick was arrested on misdemeanor charges of restraint, resisting arrest, and 2 counts of simple battery. I just want to make sure we have all the details. Costello faces misdemeanor charges of simple assault and battery, resisting arrest, obstructing, and officer and disorderly conduct. All 3 pled not guilty to the charges. Okay, so all the people that we're going to see depicted here have pled not guilty. They've all been charged with misdemeanors, although some of them are going to go up. What happened? It's the next part of this story, okay? Here's what happened. According to an incident report released by the Newport police, the altercation early Sunday morning, so after midnight Saturday night, so they're out Saturday night, and now it's early Sunday morning. Let's make sure we keep that in mind. The altercation early Sunday morning started after officers Cole and White were dispatched to the Landing restaurant in Bowen's Wharf because, they're down by the yacht, by the marinas.
Oh, Bowen's Wharf.
Mm-hmm. Because the restaurant reported that someone was refusing to leave after being denied entry. Once on the scene, police were told a bar manager informed the officers that 44-year-old David Onick of Barrington had become upset when the restaurant denied him and his family entry. The bar manager claimed Onyx shoved them with 2 fingers and attempted to punch a security staff member while he was being restrained. Okay, so here's what happens. They're all at a wedding. Wedding's over. There's a bar in the wharf. They're all going to the restaurant bar. They're shit-faced. So, 15 people from a wedding come in at 12:30. You want to go home, right? You're looking at this and you're going, you worked in bars. You're like, no way. So they get turned away because they're obviously shit-faced drunk because they've been at a wedding all night. And one of the guys, Onyx, gets a little chesty with the security and pushes him. So they call police, and now police are there, right? So that's the situation. Meanwhile, there's probably a whole group of people with them gathering at the front of the place, right? Milling about going, what's he doing? Hey, you can't talk to him that way. You know how these crowds brew. You know how these situations tend to simmer.
Yep.
Okay, so here's what happened. So a bar manager informed officers that David Onyx of Barrington had become upset and pushed in a security staff. Other members then restrained him while police arrived. While the officers were collecting information from the restaurant staff about the initial incident, Onyx allegedly began yelling at the staff and was detained. Later, as Sergeant Stephen Carrig was speaking with Onyx, his wife, 41-year-old Rachel Onyx, allegedly began interjecting herself into the incident. Okay, so the cop is holding back the husband. They're all shit-faced. The cop is holding back the husband. The wife is now, mouthy drunk wife, right? She's just causing more problems than she needs to be. So that's what's happening here. Rachel, 41-year-old Rachel Onyx allegedly began interjecting herself into the incident by refusing to back away and trying to speak with her husband, who was being detained by police. According to the police narratives, Rachel Onyx tripped and fell while officers were trying to move her away from the situation. Now, remember that. Remember that she tripped and fell. That's what the cops wrote down. Let me just bury the lead. She did not trip and fall. And I think it's interesting because every time it's a black kid involved, it's like the cops make, well, here's a nice white lady involved, and the cop is lying in the police report about what happened. He punched her in the face. We'll see it. But in the police report, it says, so at least they're consistent, They don't cop to hitting anybody. They're just, all right. So Rachel Onyx the cop said, according to the police narratives, Rachel Onyx tripped and fell while
his fist. She tripped and fell into his fist.
Well, wait a second now. Rachel, the big question after we watch this video is going to be, did she deserve it? Because let me tell you something, man. As we break down this video, which is why I wanted to have a little bit of time here, we're going to see some things that you might not see if you just watch it as a viral video, and I want to point them out to you. So remember, this chick, she fell. She tripped and fell. She didn't get punched in the face by the cop, which we will obviously see in the video. She tripped and fell, according to the cop. She tripped and fell while the officers were trying to move her away from the situation, causing other family members to crowd around the officers. Physical altercations broke out between several members of the family and police, causing Carrig to strike Flaherty, who allegedly kicked Carrig in the groin. Not allegedly. We're going to see it. All right, let's watch the video, okay? So that's the story. Again, wedding ended. They went to the bar. The bar manager was like, no, you people are shit-faced. You can't come in here acting like this. That got the police there. When the police showed up, the drunk wives got involved with the husbands who were detained by the police, and then all hell broke loose. So let's watch. We'll go through it one time. We'll watch it live, and then, James, as always, I'll say, any questions? Okay?
All right. Well, what are you pulling up? Because I found a body cam stream that I didn't find earlier today because I saw a different angle.
Yeah, well, let's pull that up. Let's watch that. We can watch that as well because there's
Well, where's yours? I don't see it in the on deck circle over here.
Yeah, mine is going to be shared right now.
Okay.
Here we go. Boom. All right, I don't know where it is. Is that me? Yeah. Boom. Okay. Here we go.
Full screen.
Oh my God. Yo, Cougs.
All right, here we go. So, this is the entrance to the bar. Obviously, these are the family members who are not being detained, but there are 2 members of the family who are being detained and they're being talked to by police. This girl, who you see seated on the ground, she plays a big role in this thing. Let's watch.
Hey, name your badge number.
Shoves it.
Hey, back up. Name your badge number.
Kicks him in the nuts. He knocks her.
Oh my God. Yo, Cougs. Cougs, get over here, bro. Oh my God. Kubi, get back. Kubi, get back. Kubi.
You saw that. He touched my wood. He had no video.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You just fucking knocked her out, bro.
Okay.
You just fucking knocked her out, bro. You just knocked her out.
Do that one more time.
You saw that. He touched my wood.
Slowly. All right. So this is the scrum right here. There is a girl hidden back there who you cannot see.
He had no video.
Now the cop has pulled her away. You can see her leg right here.
Oh my God.
She was knocked out cold and double kissed her head on the cobblestones.
Oh my God. You just fucking knocked her out, bro. You just fucking knocked her out, bro. You just knocked her out. Dude, her head just hit the pavement. Her head just hit the pavement, bro.
All right, so there you have it. James, your thoughts on the throwdown on the wharf there in Newport, Rhode Island over the weekend?
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You know, I mean, I would be upset if that was my wife, but my wife's not the kind of jackass that we get in a scrum with the cops to begin with.
I don't. She's a redhead, man. I don't know.
Well, she's gone 41 years without doing it, so I don't think she'd start now.
Okay. Well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. And knowing your wife, I would think that would be wildly out of character for her. However, did you notice that? I think, for instance, the thing that's got everybody freaking out and calling for the badges of these cops is the girl who just gets knocked cold and gets her head double kissed on the cement.
That's
So
unfortunate, but no, my level of sympathy is high, but she's still wrong.
Okay.
She's
All right.
wrong, and if you're going to fight with the cop and he punches you and you get, you're knocked unconscious and you kiss your head on the pavement, sorry. What's he supposed to do? Just get his ass kicked? What's he supposed to do? Be tied up so the other men who can actually do damage to him now actually start doing damage to him? Or does he need to? I mean, you assault a cop, and if he punches you and you take it badly, that's on you.
Okay.
If you assault anybody, cop or not, if you assault me and I punch you in the face and you fall and hit your head, that's your problem, dude.
So let's watch a couple of things back again because we watched them in fast motion. So let's for crying out loud!
Oh, you're on mine. No, let's watch this. This is a different angle because this is
all right, but that's not what I have prepared. So let me finish through going through what I have prepared, and then we'll jump into yours. So where is mine? Did mine go?
You closed that whole window.
Yeah, here I go. We got it. Okay. We're going to watch it one more time. And this time I'm going to stop it at key moments. And I want to point things out because it sure does look like these cops are just punching women in the face. And I'm sure.
Zoom in on it real quick. Just like
what's
that.
Say
Cool?
again?
Can I zoom in on it like that? Is that cool?
Oh, yeah. You do whatever you need to do. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Let's watch it. All right. Right now, you got cops trying to detain the guy who initially got the police called on him. This woman right here is with the party and she's getting involved and she's being a menace. Now, she's the one who gets punched. We see her get punched. She's also the subject of the lie in the police report. The cop who punches her says that she tripped and fell. We know that's not true. However, why did he punch her? Let's watch. Right now, so he pushes her back. This is all reasonable for police trying to maintain a scene. Right there, she just kicks him in the nuts. Okay, do you see that one? She kicks him square in the nuts.
Great job on the freeze frame.
Yes. And like any man, this is his instantaneous reaction. That's what happens. She did not. He wrote in the police report that she slipped and fell. He punched her in the face after she kicked him in the nuts. That is probably not procedurally the way that they are instructed, but come on. She kicked him in the nuts at close range. Let's keep watching.
Oh my God.
All right. So now she's kind of out on her feet. She has fallen back into the arms of this guy. I don't know. We don't know who this guy is. He's not a big player at this point. However, this is her husband. Her husband is losing his shit right now. So let's watch what her husband.
But before you hit play, the husband was the guy with the camera out saying, name and badge number, name and badge number. I hate you people. Like you're some kind of freaking lawyer. You'll get his name and you'll get his badge number, but shouting it at him repeatedly, you're acting like a crazy person. You think you're being like civil and I'm just following the law and I know my rights.
Well,
You're
he's acting like a drunk. He's acting like a guy who can't, a man baby who can't handle his freaking booze.
dude. I mean,
And there's probably a certain degree of entitlement with him. Again, these are very wealthy people in a very wealthy area of the country. They're not used to being told that they can't get served.
well, no, I disagree strongly with that. I think this is looped back around to where this is a white trash behavior where you you get stripped down into your bare, not your.
What do you think? White trash don't have money? I mean, there's a lot of white trash who have money and just try and cover it up by.
Like I see trailer park type people saying, "Name and badge number. Name it. I know my rights. Name and badge number. Get your hands off her."
Yeah, this is bad human behavior. This is
Alcohol,
how everybody, regardless of color or whatever, this is how people, when the law is turned on them, tend to react.
But once you get into like 14 drinks, 16 drinks, it kind of brings everyone down to that base animal level. And this is where they're at.
All right, so now let's watch the husband. Remember, the husband just watched his wife get punched in the face, and now he's raging. This dude is just raging.
Yo, Cougs.
This cop turns away. That's the problem. Turns away, leaves him alone. Now watch what he does. The husband of the woman who just got punched in the face walks up and breaks the nose of the cop who did it to her with one giant haymaker.
Cougs, get over here.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
That thing landed flush. Cop got a broken nose and lost 2 teeth.
Cougs, get over here.
And he even said, "I will fuck you up." And then he does it.
Cougs, get over here, bro.
All right. So I understand that. He's drunk. He's just watched someone punch his wife. Maybe sober, you react. I don't know. I don't know how I would react.
He's a bad person.
Well, yeah, of course. He's an idiot. I don't know if he's a bad person. I don't know if I go that far. He's an idiot. These people are idiots. They're trash. They don't know how to behave.
Right. Yeah, maybe I'm going too far. He's at least an idiot.
He's an idiot.
Probably a bad person.
He's feeling himself. Didn't like that he wasn't told that they couldn't come into the bar. He's a dick. He's a dick. I don't know, full bad person.
Well, also, there's also the fact that you can tell he's lost his mind because any logical person would say, okay, I have a chance to punch this cop as hard as I can in the face, but what's going to happen to me after that? What's the aftermath of this decision? Am I going to enjoy the rest of my evening and just drive home and sleep in the comfort of my own bed? Oh no.
So let's watch now. All right. So this girl, remember her? She's the one that got punched.
She's the kicker. I don't like her either.
She's the kicker who got punched, and this is her husband who's now being gang tackled by a bunch of cops because he just broke another cop's nose. So she's sort of responsible for this whole thing. And watch what she does. Boom! Stomps on this cop's nuts. Did you see that? She's kicked one in the nuts, and now she's stomping on a cop's nuts. Watch. Stomp.
Hoovy, get back. Hoovy. Get back.
And she ain't done. Nope, she just kicks him right between the legs there, too. This is what she does.
Hoovy, get back. Hoovy, get back.
As a man, I cannot co-sign that behavior.
No.
Raise the man code.
It's him between the nuts again. Now this is the scary one. This is the girl that gets just friggin' laid out and double kisses her head on the pavement. Okay.
Oh my God. Oh my.
Now that could be a dead person. Okay. That's how you die. That's how on the best case, you never taste candy anymore. Worst case scenario, you're a vegetable because you've just double kissed your head. All right. So having said that, she's fine. she went to the hospital. She was treated for a concussion. She was released later that night and she was summarily arrested. Now,
right, let me talk straight out of my butt for a second, but you might be able to back me up because I've never seen any scientific study or a documentary on this, but it has been my experience. Really drunk people can get knocked out easier than sober people.
I mean, it depends. Some tough son of a bitches, you get them wasted and they just don't go down.
They take zombie punches.
Yeah.
Okay, but I've also seen, I saw my friend Brandon get in a fight one time and he got thumped in the head hard and he just crumpled. But he was 12 drinks in, 10 drinks in. I don't know. I don't know. I see that lady falling, and I mean, I guess it could be like a subdural hematoma, and she's going to die. But I really think the worst thing that happened there is her face is going to be sore, and she probably cracked her phone.
Okay, well, the worst thing that happened there is that you've got a cop who thinks that that's the way hit women. That's the worst thing that can happen there. And that's pretty much what's going on here. These cops are all now under investigation because of the way they handled this situation, which I understand. It was mayhem, but whatever. It happened. It got crazy. I watched it. These were bad people behaving badly. These cops were severely outnumbered. Now, why did this cop just lay this chick out? I mean, I saw it. I was horrified by that. I went, oh my God. What's that?
Yeah, this is a different angle.
This is a different angle. It's a different angle of why this cop laid this woman out. James, let's watch the video, shall we? Tell me if you still feel horrified for this girl. This is her right here in the black dress. You see her? I know it's blurry, but this is from a bit further away. She's tangling with the cop. This cop right here is about to knock her out. Okay, so watch this. Oh, what's she doing there, James? Can you see that? Are you close enough?
Another nut shot? This is the third nut shot from a second.
No, that's not a nut shot, James. She has her hand on his gun. His back is turned to her, and she is trying to steal his gun. That's when he wheels around and KOs her instantly. This dumb bitch is trying to steal this cop's gun. Let's watch it again. Maybe you can get as close as you can. But here, you can see her. She's reaching.
I
there she goes.
Hang on. Let me do it.
Right now, her hand is on his back. His back is to her. She's hanging on him, and she's trying to remove his gun. There she goes. She's trying to do it. And now he noticed. Look at her. She is trying to unsnap it right here. In this picture, she is bending down, trying to unsnap his holster and take his gun. And boom. And he closes her for it. Thank you. Good night. 100% justified due to this camera angle. Had that camera angle not existed, that man would go to jail. That man would probably be run out of police work. Good Lord. Right, James? Thank God for that second camera angle. We see her from a different angle trying to steal his gun. And she got laid out. And you know what? If she became a vegetable because of that, oh, justified. Watch it again, closer. There she goes. There she is. Right. See her? She's tangling with. Oh, and he lays her out.
Is that the music from Moon, or what is that from?
I don't know what that is. And honestly, in this day and age, I don't know if that's a deep fake. I don't know what I'm looking at half the time anymore. All I know is white people behaving badly is a lot of fun for me. All right, show me what you got.
Is this the same one? Is this the same one just from a different angle? Because I think that this is the black dress lady. You see my cursor?
Yeah, this looks like it. That looks like the entrance to the place.
All right. So this is, yeah. This is the little stoop that they get caught up in. All right. So here's the angle from a body cam footage that was released 2 days ago. This happened on September 10th. Oh, very early in the morning, September 10th. Oh my God, 4:51 in the morning. Oh.
Okay. What's going on here? What are we looking at? We have sound? I need sound.
There's no sound.
Oh, that sucks. Sound is. Right.
All right. So that.
Oh, wait, this is the body cam of the cop that gets his nose broke.
All right. So he pushed her down.
Right. So now he's turning. He's about to get KO'd.
Yeah. Husband's about to hit him.
There it is. There it is. He just.
He's wailing on him.
He's wailing on him. Costello's going to town.
And he's getting the nut shot, right?
Yeah.
Is he the one that gets the nut shot? Like where
that cop. He gets his nuts stomped on by the wife. Getting pummeled by the husband, and the wife stomps on his nuts. All right, that was very good. I need that. No. All right, I think that's it. That's it for our show tonight. I had a couple of other really cool fights. There was a great fight at the Cardinals-Commanders game in the stands that I wanted to break down. There was another situation. What's that?
Let me see. We got 3 minutes. We can watch the fight.
Yeah, we do. All right, why not? All right, why not? This occurred on Sunday at the Washington Commanders game. There's a lot going on here too, James. I don't know if you want to dedicate the whole, if you want to do it right. All right, here we go. Hold on, my friend. Hold on. Okay. Boom. 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 Okay, dove. All right, here we go. So this is in the stands. Let's just let it rip. This is at a Washington Commanders game. They are playing the Cardinals. This is how it started. See Ray Lewis guy. Oh, now this dude looks scary as shit. This guy wearing the Terry McLaurin jersey. You see this dude?
He looks like he's from Vikings.
Yeah, I was gonna say he looks like. This dude can whip some ass. I'm telling you. Look at his girl. His girl is kicking this one in the face. I love this dude. He just went to the bathroom. He just wants to get back to his seat. All right, there you go. Humanity. That's what we got.
People are great, aren't they?
Have no idea what that was even over. It seemed to be a guy in a Ravens jersey at a Commanders game versus the Cardinals. Made no sense.
I look, when I get drunk though, I don't get that angry. I'm like having such a good time. I'm like, why fight? I can't go in. All right, well, let's go somewhere else, guys. Like it's never like, I'm letting me in. Oh, it's my seat. What could have they possibly could have possibly caused that fight that we just saw where the dude got pummeled and he's all punch drunk trying to.
Drunk guys talk shit. They talk shit to another drunk guy. I mean, best reason is thrown out the window. That's one of the problems with alcohol. One of the benefits of weed is that you tend to be more considerate with weed. Wow, man, am I really being a dick? When somebody goes, you dick, you're like, really?
Check this out. I would recommend that the NFL start selling weed vapes or weed gummies or something at games, and then I want to see the statistics on how much fewer fighting there is.
Yeah, just a lot of people just chilling out watching the game, the way I do every Sunday for the last 20 years. It's very calm, very relaxed.
And what do you think about this right here? Ego is what caused that, James. I don't know. I have a huge ego, but I wouldn't fight like that.
Wow. Ego causes almost all fights between men. And that's one of the problems with alcohol, is that it reduces all of your defenses that you put up when you're sober against being a slave to your ego. And you just become a dick.
Well, I'm a dick, but how come I don't get in fights?
Because you back down. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that cooler head. You have a cooler head that always prevails. You know how to take it just far enough to still be a decent member of society.
So it's not what ego calls it. It's hot-headedness. It's this temper, this inability to.
Right, but the ego. What do you think is fueling the hot-temperedness? It's your ego. It's your demand to be heard. It's your demand to be justified. That's.
Yeah, I don't have the ability to snap like these people do.
Because you control it. Good for you. You have better control than a lot of people. What do you want, a cookie? I mean, my God.
I'm just saying, I have an ego comparable to any of these a-holes.
No. You're thinking of ego in you're thinking of ego not in the id, the ego, and the super ego. You're thinking of it in the way that it's used colloquially. People don't know what ego really is. They think it's just about arrogance and being stuck up. That's so dumb. That is such a base entry conversation about. Right. That's not what ego is. Ego drives everything.
I hear you. So, but could James whip Chuck Norris? See the comment down here? The answer is yes.
That's not ego. That's delusion.
That is.
All right.
83.
There he goes. He's insane. I'm insane. We'll see you tomorrow at noon for High Noon. Love you. Bye, everybody. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.